I would like to hear your guys' response to the letter. I'm assuming you guys have had the chance to read it. So I, as a resident, and I think everyone in here as well, would like to hear what council's response is.
In 2022, the city council contacted Robert Pesce and Associates, who is the firm that does our engineering, and asked for a preliminary engineering report, which was finalized in May of 2022, and it is in this binder. The preliminary engineering report, the request was essentially the city needs to address a couple of issues. Number one, the amount of water stored in the city, and number two, pressures in various parts of the city were low. Okay. The water tower that is currently in use in Memorial Park holds 200,000 gallons of water. The recommendation from DEQ for our community is 1 million gallons in storage. And that has to do with having enough water in storage in the event of fire incidents to not only fight the fires, but also continue providing water to residences and the hospital and school, the detention center. Okay. As part of that preliminary engineering report, that process, we held 2 public hearings, and the summaries of those are in a section in this report. The notice, evidence of the notice in the papers is also included in this document. So that was, well, let me just get to that.
But were you aware of the cost that it was going to cost each individual homeowner that was attached to the city water?
The preliminary engineering report included cost estimates and various options for the city to consider. Okay. And one of those options was to do nothing. The water tower that is in use at this time was built in 1958.
Did you also consider maybe, I mean, John Tester, Senator Tester was in during that time. He had the ability to do earmark funding for you guys for these. This is what I see Congressman Zinke going across the state doing, Senator Sheehy's doing the same. You guys would not have had to pay a dime back had you contacted Senator Tester's office at that time. Did you guys looking at getting earmark funding from the federal government for that?
We do have funding through the federal government.
You have a minuscule amount of federal funding. I'm talking about funding for the entire project, all $14 million of this project, that would not have had to have had a dime paid back, where you would not have had to have raised the prices from $92 to $175 a month for these people, along with the cost that's costing like $400 to $500 for Miss J down the street who's on an income that she can't afford that?
Mayor, may I comment?
I actually would like to comment first. The city used as much grant funding as it was
This isn't grant funding.
It's all grant.
No, this is not grant. This is earmark funding directly from the federal government.
Directly from the taxpayers of this country.
Yes, but it's someone's going to spend it, so why was the city of Townsend not on that?
So the city applied for the grants for which it was eligible.
It was eligible for this.
And the city has received through a federal program, the State Revolving Fund, which is a loan program.
Yeah, you got $11 million roughly, which $3 million might get forgiven.
$5 million.
$5 million. Okay,
Yes.
$5 million. But there's still $9 million. Did you ask the new developer coming in to also help fund some of this cost as well?
As new homes are built and come onto city services, those residents will be charged the water rates, sewer rates.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking the developer could have also fronted portions of this cost for that new water tower. At least 50% is what happens in other cities across the country, across the state of Montana. We see it happening in the Flathead. We see it happening down in Gallatin County. You see it happening out in eastern Montana.
Yes. I'm going to say again, we applied for the grant funding that we were eligible for, and we received rural, what was it, the RRGL, rural, it's a rural water, MSEP, the state revolving fund, which is our loan forgiveness, is the largest loan forgiveness in that program ever. So yes, we have the amount that we will be required to repay up to $7,195,000. Doesn't, if the project comes in under that, we won't have as much money. So to your question, did we contact Senator Tester? No, we did not. And at this point, Councilman Simon, you wanted to interject?
Well, it seemed like that the conversation got a little heated about the project as a whole, and we were talking about the letter specifically, which really seems to address the costs that the consumer will bear in relation to these upgrades, okay, from the curb stop in, okay? So by municipal ordinance, from the curb stop in is the consumer's responsibility, okay? So when you as a resident hook up to the system, you have to prepare your property to hook up to that system, okay? Things are not gonna stay the same forever. So logically, if the system, the water system of the city of Townsend has to upgrade, there are going to be some people that are going to be affected. Not everyone. You know, some of the, what's that?
Large number.
Well, possibly, okay? But that's gonna depend on what type of pipes that they have in their own homes, okay? What is their plumbing? You know, plumbing from the 50s or earlier may not be viable, but that's always going to be the case, right? That those are going to expire at some point with their usability.
So at what point did you guys know that when you put your new tower online, it was gonna blow all the plumbing from half the houses?
Well, we shouldn't say all the plumbing, okay, because that's not accurate.
Every plumbing that is connected to city water, then, happy? Is that a
Thank you.
term we
That'll
can
work.
use?
It's not, no,
Because
that's,
many of it, I have the water pressure valve. I went and I spent the $600 for a plumber because I'm not gonna, because I could afford it.
right.
But that doesn't mean everyone here can, and you guys are not good enough to notice. I'm sorry, a neon flyer in the mail during election season, you guys see that and toss it. You guys should be going door to door for that, letting these residents know. There's so many people that don't even realize this. And I notice on Facebook it's not enough either.
Do you suppose you have the staff to do that?
You guys are elected officials.
We're lucky that somebody came across this. It was total accident that anyone even.
Personally to go to door to door?
Actually, yes, you guys are, you are an elected official. That is your
Please.
choice.
Let's calm down, Brett, a little bit.
Please,
okay?
let's,
This is a part-time position, it's barely paid, I have a family to feed.
Councilman Simon.
okay?
We were just lucky that we found out about this.
Please, would you
because we
state
didn't hear anything.
your name for the record?
Larry Gibson.
Thank you.
Until this started to get out in Facebook, and not from anybody official, but people started to comment on it on Facebook. Nobody knew that we were all about to have all of our plumbing blown up. So it's just dumb luck. When did you guys know and just decide not to say anything?
Mr. Gibson, one of the purposes of the project was to address low pressures that were occurring throughout the city, okay? And certainly, the timing of such a communication is always an issue. You inform people too soon, they set the communication aside and don't address it. We also considered when we were most likely monitoring the project itself, the progress of the project, when we'll begin testing, when is the best time. Could we have sent this notices earlier? Absolutely, we could have.
With 2 or 3 plumbers in town, they're gonna have a lot of fun trying to get everybody put together by June.
Again, it's not most
Councilman
likely
Simon.
going to be everybody, Mayor.
No, but
Right.
I agree, there are some newer houses in town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of houses, older houses that have been upgraded over the last few years. But there's still, who knows what the percentage is of houses in Townsend that are gonna all be indoor swimming pools when the tower comes online if we don't get this stuff fixed.
Also, McKenna Gregg, again, for the record, you guys don't mandate those pressure valves either on new builds. So not new builds actually won't have them. It's not mandated.
May I speak briefly?
Councilman Howick.
The city is required by the state to embrace the international building codes. The state has mandated that for a long time. The international building codes have required pressure regulating valves in homes for about 40 years. The fact that contractors in the area have not been keeping that up to date is something we don't have the staff to monitor.
You
It's
guys
impossible.
Don't we have city inspectors for that?
We have one, just one. And if he spent his time full-time knocking on every door, trying to see if everybody was up to date, he
Not
wouldn't,
the old builds, just new builds.
but the new
Gee,
builds are at
still,
least.
the state of Montana requires
I have
electrical
not
permit, a plumbing
recognized you
permit.
yet, Ms. Steele. Ms. Steele.
The state requires an electrical permit, a plumbing permit, which is mechanical, and a septic if you're in the county. So if a contractor is building a house, they have to have those permits.
We assume that new construction, in fact, has the pressure regulating valve. The new construction is also the least likely to be affected by this change. The older and unmodified homes are going to be those that have the greatest possibility of susceptibility. We're a small town.
So does your city inspector pull those permits for the file for the city?
No, but why would he have?
Because they're state required.
Oh, I apologize, I misunderstood your question. Because I'm not personally involved with every permit that gets pulled, I make the assumption that the new construction had the permits, that the new construction was inspected, and that the new construction has pressure regulating valves. I can't prove that. I certainly hope that everybody's doing their job.
But your city inspector could.
Our city inspector does the building inspection.
Would that include pulling the state permits that are required by law?
I will check on that and get back to you. I should know that, and I apologize not. Yes, ma'am. For the record, you are.
Amy Peters.
Thank you.
So, I do have a question. She brought up the subdivisions that came in and the developers. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I spoke with the engineer on those developments, and they said that at one point they had turned in all the paperwork to get involved with the water. It was under approved status, and then it all of a sudden went to pending status, and now they're only being charged to tap into it versus being charged to help pay for the upgrades that were needed for the subdivision to happen. So is that something that, because a developer is supposed to pay for part of the water system if it needs upgrading? Well, the developer didn't. So I was just kind of curious if that is true or not.
Which development are you speaking about, Ms. Peters?
I spoke with this engineer about 2 years ago. So it was the one that came in about 2 years ago.
We have,
It was on the south side of town.
okay. So that subdivision has come to council twice. The developer's come to council twice for extensions on its phases. The city does not have impact fees, and you can't retroactive those. So I'm not sure in what context the engineer was speaking. The preliminary plat, which we can get to you if you're interested,